Welcome to the deep dive. You sent us the sources, we extract the gold. Today we're looking at a YouTube transcript. It's called Do What You Love, Love What You Do from the Learn English podcast channel. And it kicks off with a bit of a classic head scratcher, doesn't it? You've got Steve Jobs saying, love what you do, but then Richard Branson says, do what you love. Seems like they're pulling in opposite directions, right? So our mission today is to explore these ideas, these seemingly conflicting views, and really dig into how you can maybe build a more fulfilling life using these insights.
Yeah, it's a tension a lot of people feel, I think. Are you supposed to find the passion in the job you have or build your life around the passions you already have outside of work? It really can feel like walking a tightrope sometimes.
Exactly. And the transcript brings in this really interesting concept from Japan, ikigai. Now, ikigai, it sounds maybe a bit exotic, but it's actually a powerful framework. They define it basically as a reason for being, what gets you up in the morning.
And what's great about Ikigai, as the transcript explains it, is that it's not just like one big single thing. It's more about where four different things meet. You can picture it like four overlapping circles, a Venn diagram, basically. That's the visual.
Okay, 4 circles. Let's unpack those. So first, there's what you love. Simple enough. Your passions, right? What gets you excited. Then what you're good at. Your skills, your talents.
Right.
Third is what the world needs. So like your purpose. How you contribute.
Yeah, exactly. How you can make a difference. And the last one, what you could be paid for. The money side, the practical bit.
Got it. Love, skill, need, pay.
And Ikigai, the real sweet spot, is supposed to be right in the middle, where all four of those things overlap. But importantly, the transcript stresses this isn't just about your career. It's meant to be for your whole life.
Yeah, that's a key point. But it also talks about what happens when you only have, say, 2 or 3 circles overlapping. And this is where it gets, I think, really relatable for a lot of people. Like, if you love something and the world needs it, but you can't get paid for it, they call that a mission.
Meaningful, definitely, but potentially hard to sustain long term. The transcript mentions burnout rates can be high in those purely mission-driven roles. Intrinsic motivation is great, but you often need some practical support too.
That's a really good point. You see people pouring their hearts into something, but without the financial side, it just becomes exhausting, doesn't it?
It really does. And ultimately, it can stop them doing the very work that's so meaningful.
Okay, what else? Then there's passion. You love it, you're good at it, but nobody needs it or pays for it. Like being an amazing underwater basket weaver or something. A great hobby brings you joy, but maybe not paying the bills.
Exactly. We probably all have things like that. They make life richer, but they don't necessarily, put food on the table directly.
Then the flip side, profession. You're good at it, it pays well, but you don't love it. The transcript says this can feel empty. Makes you think, what else could you be doing with that time,
Right. That really hits that core tension again. You might look successful on the outside, but inside, that disconnect can really gnaw at you over time.
And the last combo is vocation. It pays, the world needs it, but you don't enjoy it. The transcript actually says, this sounds like a lot of people we know, which is kind of telling, isn't it? You're doing something useful, earning a living, but that spark, that joy isn't there.
Yeah, it's common, and it brings up a big question, doesn't it? Providing for yourself is vital, obviously, but what's the cost of spending years doing work that just doesn't align with who you are or what brings you satisfaction?
So yeah, lots to think about there. With all that in mind, the big question for you listening is, how can you use these ideas? How can you find more fulfillment in your life? The transcript does offer some practical steps.
Yeah, it really frames finding your Ikigai as a journey, a process of discovery. It suggests starting with some, reflection, maybe actually drawing out those 4 circles: love, good at, needs, paid for, and just being honest about where your current life fits into that picture.
Like a personal map.
Yeah.
And it's not set in stone, right? They emphasize trying things out, experimenting, new hobbies, maybe volunteering, learning something different, just exploring what clicks.
And I thought it was interesting how they brought in Ken Mosey's book, The Little Book of Ikigai. It kind of pushes back against that big Western dream job idea. I was climbing the ladder, getting richer. Instead, it looks at everyday people in Japan, sushi chefs, calligraphers finding real, deep joy in just doing their craft well. It's not flashy.
Right. That's such a different perspective, isn't it? Away from constant hustle and status. It suggests Ikigai can be in the doing, the intention, not just the outcome or the paycheck.
And there's that link they mentioned to longevity in Okinawa. Apparently their Ikigai isn't just some nice idea. It's seen as like fundamental to a long, healthy life,
Yeah.
something that keeps people going, gives them purpose every day. But they talk about harmony rather than hustle.
Harmony over hustle. I like that.
Yeah.
But okay, fulfillment isn't just about work or finding that perfect ikigai intersection. The transcript brings in another concept, hige, from Denmark. Can you maybe explain hig a bit more for anyone who hasn't come across it?
Sure. Hig is, it's hard to translate directly, but it's essentially about creating a feeling of coziness, warmth, contentment, enjoying simple pleasures, usually with people you care about. And candles, comfy blankets, sharing food, reading a book by the fire, that kind of vibe.
It sounds like the total opposite of, how some cultures, maybe like the US, really tie identity to your job title. That first question you always get asked. So what do you do? It defines you almost.
It does. And the transcript includes that really powerful point from Bronnie Ware, the nurse who wrote about regrets of the dying. The number one regret she heard: I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me.
Wow. That really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? True success isn't just climbing the ladder or hitting benchmarks someone else set. It's about living authentically, finding joy day to day.
Exactly. Which is why bringing passion into your everyday life, even in really small ways, matters so much. The transcript mentions simple things: gardening, painting, helping someone out, just taking a quiet walk. These things might seem small, but they add up. They contribute to that overall sense of well-being.
Yeah, they even gave that example of one of the hosts starting baking during the pandemic, something totally separate from work but brings calm accomplishment. That's like ikigai in action, just not career focus.
And building on that idea of looking at different parts of life, the transcript introduces another tool, the wheel of life. How does that work exactly?
Right, the wheel of life. Okay, imagine a circle like a pizza or a pie. You divide it into slices. Each slice is a different area of your life. So you might have career, health, relationships, fun, personal growth, money, maybe environment, things like that. Then you rate how satisfied you are with each area, say from 1 to 10.
And if you shade it in, you get this visual, right? A lopsided wheel, or as they put it, a lopsided pizza, that shows you where things are maybe out of balance. Like if your work slice is a 9, but your fun slice is a 2. That tells you something pretty clearly.
Yeah, exactly. And the point isn't necessarily to get a perfect 10 in every single slice. That might be unrealistic. The transcript suggests it's more about balance, maybe needing to pull back a bit in one area to give another area room to grow, making the wheel roll a bit smoother,
Mm-hmm. And they have this neat phrase, cross-training for life.
Yeah.
The idea that doing something in one area can actually benefit another. Like if you love music, starting a band isn't just about music, it builds relationships too.
Right. Or cooking it can become a family thing, or a way to connect with friends if you host dinners. It's about weaving your passions through different parts of your life, not keeping them stuck in little boxes labeled hobby.
Yeah, integrating things more. The transcript also mentions balancing me time and together time and making space for personal growth. It suggests starting small with daily habits, a bit of yoga, maybe journaling, reading, stretching, even just watering plants, little things consistently.
But I liked the point they made that you don't have to be amazing at something for it to count. Enjoying it is the key thing. If painting relaxes you, it doesn't matter if you're the next Picasso, right? The enjoyment itself is valuable.
Absolutely. Which brings us back to being intentional. All these ideas, ikigai, hig, the wheel, they require conscious effort. The transcript talks about making time and space for joy.
Yes. Time management isn't just for work deadlines. It's about protecting time for what matters personally. Setting boundaries around work, saying no sometimes, guarding your personal time, that's crucial.
And that idea of actually scheduling joy time, putting it in your calendar like an appointment. It sounds a bit formal, maybe, but it signals that it's important. It's a priority, not just something for leftover time.
The environment matters too, according to the transcript. Designing your space to reflect your interests, having your guitar out or your books visible or art supplies easy to grab, little nudges.
Yeah, visual cues. And conversely, being mindful of things that drain energy or space, like too much screen time, especially before bed. Giving your mind a chance to wander or be creative, rather than just consuming constantly.
Okay, before we wrap up, they had that useful little vocabulary spotlight section. Maybe we can quickly recap those key terms.
Good idea. So first, ikigai. That's your reason for being, right? What gets you going. The example was playing piano every morning. Just that simple thing.
Then vocation. This was work that feels more like a calling, a duty, like teaching, if you feel deeply committed to it beyond just the job description.
Hig, that Danish word for the cozy, comfy, contented feeling. lighting a candle, reading a book, that whole vibe.
The wheel of life. That's the tool, the circle with slices, for checking in on your life balance across different areas.
And flow state, that feeling when you're totally absorbed in something you enjoy, you lose track of time, like getting lost in painting or writing.
Great. So pulling it all together from this deep dive, we've looked at finding your ikigai, embracing that everyday joy with Hij, using the wheel of life to find balance, and really the importance of consciously making time and space for things that matter to you.
And the big takeaway seems to be it's not about some massive, sudden transformation. It's more about small shifts, consistent small steps towards what feels more aligned and joyful for you.
Exactly. So maybe here's a final thought for you to chew on. What's just one small thing, really small, that you could do today or maybe this week to bring a little more meaning or joy into your life? Could you take 5 minutes to sketch out a quick wheel of life? Could you schedule 30 minutes for something fun just for you? Could you think about one passion and how it may connect to, say, your relationships or your community? Just one tiny step you can take right now. What would that be?